Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning. Just coming off of a holiday weekend, the 4th of July. So I hope everyone had a safe holiday weekend. And now we're jumping right into our Cleveland real estate market update this morning. So I'm just getting situated here as you guys are joining me. Uh-oh. Turn this off. Give me 2 seconds and I will be ready to get started. Here on Monday mornings, I like to jump on and just kind of give a look back at where we're at in the Cleveland real estate market, provide some tips to you. All right, I think I'm ready. So I'd like to provide some tips to you, give you an update where things are going. And so do that early in the morning, get that out the way so you can start your day. Sorry, I know what's going on here. I can't share this, but okay. All right. So we just came off of June. We're right into July now. A lot happening in the real estate market. We are starting to see the market starting to heat up quite a bit. Lots of buyers. That pent up buyer energy that was kind of held back during the springtime because of the coronavirus is turning into a hot summer real estate market. And so much so that prior to going into the coronavirus, we already had a situation where inventory was really low, and now it's causing a lot more bottleneck because the inventory is still extremely low. So buyers have to be a little bit more patient in terms of finding the perfect home, because we don't want you to just jump into any home just for the sake of you're tired of looking. Just want to have a little bit more patience to be able to find that perfect home that suits you and your family based on everything that you talked about. And so with that being said, home ownership is still the greatest. It is still the greatest kind of freedom, and it should be for all. It still is the American dream. Many people would love to own real estate, own a home. So I'm here, I'm available, answer all of your questions to make that dream a reality. So if you don't know me, if this is the first time that you are joining me, my name is Andrea Wilson. I am the broker over at Brickhouse Realty. We are a full service real estate brokerage here in Northeast Ohio. We have lots of agents in our office. We are growing. We are looking for more agents that also want to join our brokerage. But most of all, we are here available, very knowledgeable, and we have all of the resources available for you for anything real estate investing. If you're first time home buyer, you're looking for down payment money, you need credit repair, we have those resources available to you, and many of those resources are free. So just want to talk about home ownership real quick first to let you know that it does create stability within a community. A lot of times people don't realize when you have a community that is filled with renters, nothing against my renters at all. Understand that in some cases, renting may be the best option for you, or it just may be what you can afford, or you're working on becoming a homeowner. But home ownership creates stability in a community. So let me provide an example of why that happens, right? So when you are a renter, typically renters move into an area or move into a community and they're not vested into that community, meaning they feel like it's short term, I won't be here long. Therefore, they may not make the extra steps of getting to know the neighbors, necessarily care about the yard and the landscape and makeup of the yard, because it's just a temporary situation and I don't own this home. So when people start owning their homes, they have a more sense of reality or they're more vested in that particular area. It's important. Who else is living on this street? You want to get to know your neighbors. You care about your neighbors. You start doing things like handling the landscaping on the property a little better, and then you start shopping in that community. And then you care about those local store owners in that community, because you know and you realize the more that I shop within my community, the more my community will start to thrive. And a thriving community brings more great residents like yourself. It brings more jobs to the area. It brings better school districts to the area. So oftentimes what happens, and especially if we're looking in inner cities, in urban areas, is what happens is the crime is a little bit higher and it's a little bit more distressed. So what do people do? Good morning, Erica. But what do people do? They will go to school, they'll get a good education, they'll get a good job, and then they move out of the community. So these folks that have now made it, I guess you could say, are moving out of that community and moving into more suburban areas. So those are contacts, resources available to them that they are pulling from out of the community. So now the population and pool of people inside those urban or inner city areas becomes more distressed because everyone is leaving and going out of there. But the more that we create more home ownerships in the inner city, in the urban areas, and just throughout in general, it becomes or it starts to build a stronger community in there. So if you are thinking about buying a home, you're not really sure where to get started, everyone is in a different place in the real estate market. This Saturday, July 11th at 10 a.m., having a Zoom 30-minute session. It's addressed if you want to invest in real estate, buy whatever it is, you can join me. You can register on Eventbrite. I will share the link here at the end. It's How to Own Real Estate is what it's called. Please share this with anyone. It is the steps that you will need to get you to that next phase of owning real estate. So I want to take a look back at the numbers in June. Last week, I did share with you all the June numbers, but the final numbers weren't in. It takes, about a week for all of the final numbers to come in, for everything to be closed out to see where we end. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with you. All right. All right, here. So here we go. So this is a look back at June 2020 numbers. So the number of home sales where we ended was 1,780. The average sale price was 197,000, and this is in Cuyahoga County, is where we're reviewing today. The number of new listings ended at 2,432. The average days on market was 56. So we actually ended pretty well given everything that was going on. If you've been watching my videos prior to this one, I often talk about where we were prior to the coronavirus. We were definitely starting to see this increase and this momentum building when home values were starting to increase more and more. The activity was going up. And then once the coronavirus had hit, it kind of leveled off. We didn't tank, we just kind of leveled off at that point. But now we're starting to see that a more of an incline right now that we're kind of getting through this coronavirus stage. So not bad considering what happened and quarantine and everything else. So we ended at about 1,780 home sales, which I would say is pretty good given all of the circumstances. So right now in July, we're just 6 days into the market, including with a holiday in there and a weekend. So right now we're just sitting at about 152 sales, with the average price being 181,000. We do have a number of new listings, 284, and the average days on market is 52. We're seeing that trending. The average days on market is like around that 52, between 55 days on market. Although these are the homes that are sitting on the market are the ones that, may need a little refreshing. The homes that are in pristine condition, compl- up, recently renovated, those homes we're seeing go in as short as 8 hours to 24 hours as soon as they hit the market. So the really, really hot properties, they're going extremely fast. But given the number of inventory that's sitting out there, the average days on market is about 52. So, want to talk a little bit about long-term investments. Whether you are just buying this house just to live in as your traditional home, it's still a great investment for you and your family. The top choices for long-term investment would be real estate, stocks, savings accounts, and gold. As you can see, that yellow line sitting at 34% is kind of gone, it has dropped down quite a bit from 2011 to where we're sitting at in 2020. Your top choice is going to be real estate. Real estate is going to be the best long-term investment, especially right now where the way that the market is going. When everything goes low, it eventually comes back up. We are coming out of a market where, the housing market had crashed, numbers and values of homes had tanked in a considerable amount. And so now we're coming out of that and we're starting to see homeowners starting to get their value back that they had lost, and it's going above where they had been previously. So we're looking at stocks. It is a really hot stocks market. I've seen a lot of activity, especially if you were to jump in prior to or right around the beginning of the coronavirus, because there was a lot of uncertainty there. So stocks were dropping. So platforms like Zoom, if you were one of those that bought in and bought Zoom, for example, then you may be sitting on a pretty penny right now because it's skyrocketed from beginning of March through now. Big difference in there. And then your savings account. Putting money in your savings account, you'll start to see some steady growth, but it's not a lot happening there. Real estate is going to be the best return on your investment. That's why I always suggest that even if you're a first time home buyer, if you're in a position, you want to think about buying a house with an investment strategy in mind, maybe buying a two-family home or anything 4 units or less is considered residential property. Thinking about buying that unit, living in one unit and renting that out, and then, or at least staying in there for a year. And then after that, you want to think about moving into a single family or into another property. That is the way that you can get started investing in real estate using the cheapest form of money. And we will talk about that in 1 second. Home ownership remains the central to the pursuit of the American dream. It is still the American dream for a lot of people wanting to buy a home. What's holding you back? Let's talk about what's holding you back. We can have a one-on-one consultation to review your situation. Everyone's in a different place, but we have to start somewhere, seeing where you're at. It may be a year from now, it may be 2 years from now, but if you don't have the conversation now, then you don't know, or you might not be taking the right path to get to that end destination of owning a home, or it could take you even a little bit longer from where you want to be. So let's have the conversation. If it's credit repair, we have those resources available to you for free. So you can start working on that credit repair. Maybe we just need to look at your budget a little bit. You might be overspending in some areas and you want to build up a savings, but not quite sure how. We can do that for you. Or if you are in need of down payment assistance programs, there's a number of programs that are out there that'll help you with that down payment money. So just need to have that conversation. So there's two common types of loan. There's your FHA with that minimum score requirement of 580. Minimum down is 3.5%, and the max seller concessions is 6%. And then on your conventional loan, the minimum score is 680. Minimum down is 5 to 20%, and then max is 3% seller's concessions. So FHA is typically for your first-time home buyer. As you can see, it requires a little bit less down at 3.5%. And the seller can also give up to that 6% seller concession. So FHA, it costs you a little less in the beginning, but then you end up spending or paying more over the life of the loan. And then a conventional, you have to spend more money up front. And then long term, it saves you money because in the interest that you would be paying. So your conventional loan, your interest rate is typically a little bit lower than if you were going a FHA loan. And these types of loans can be used on a a 4 unit or less property, anything that's considered residential. You can use these type of loans on. This is the cheapest form of money. It's in your way or your door to get into the real estate investing market. These are tools that you can use. So as a first-time home buyer, you want to look at these as your initial avenue, live in the property for at least a year, and then from there, build your portfolio from there. So I like to do a spotlight on a city, and today's spotlight is going to be on Euclid, Ohio. I actually spent quite a bit of time over the weekend over in Euclid, and so I said, "Oh, I haven't done a spotlight on Euclid just yet," so I wanted to do that today. So Euclid, Ohio, it is a inner ring suburb to Cleveland. It is a relatively large community, as you can see here on the map. It's rather large. It actually has about 48,000 people, and that was as of 2010 on that last census report. So as you can see, there's definitely a lot of people in this community. Um, it sits near to downtown Cleveland. That's why a lot of people like the Euclid area because you can jump right onto the highway there and head right into downtown. It may be even like a 10-minute drive, depending on where you're going in downtown. One of the things that is really nice, depending where you're located in Euclid, is that if I don't know if you can see towards the top of the map, there is Lakeshore Boulevard. You'll see in the green, the Kenneth J. Sims Park is close to where that Lakeshore Boulevard is. And so the nice thing is, if you are off Lakeshore Boulevard there, and then if you are on one of those streets on that backside, you actually have beach access. So obviously the blue, it would be Lake Erie there. You have actual beach access. So it is a short walk, like, you know, 4 minute walk down to the beach. There is a beach club there. You pay a small amount of money, and so you can have access to it. If you are one of the lucky homeowners who actually own some property along that red line there that faces the beach, you are sitting on a nice chunk of land and property there that has a high resale value, because who doesn't love a beachfront property? So the nice thing is this community is not so overpriced. In some places, in some cities and community, to get that type of beach access, you would be paying millions of dollars to have such a great view and be positioned like that. But here in Cleveland, it is so affordable. You can get that, under like 200, $300,000 and have that beachfront access. Now, to have that actual beachfront access, those properties take a little bit longer to sell or come up for sale. So it's a harder to find those properties, but you can definitely find the properties that sit on any of these streets along there. Actually, the particular house that we were visiting just a few years ago, the owner purchased it for $20,000. They've done some renovation to the property and use it as a rental property, but that just to give you an idea, like to have beach access at around $20,000. So, um, very affordable housing. So let me stop sharing this. Oh, sorry. All right, there I go. Sorry about that. So Euclid definitely provides a lot of affordable housing in that area. If you're looking for a place that is close to downtown Cleveland, has access to a beach, lots of shopping, and a very, as you can see on that map, the area is very huge. So definitely a great place to consider if you are thinking about moving to Cleveland, not quite sure where you want to move to. I can provide you with a lot of detailed information about the areas and some of the amenities. Euclid, they are actually rebuilding their high school in the process right now. It is huge, massive, massive, massive. And they actually have two football stadiums, and one of them is quite interesting because they actually built it out like a U. Like if you're familiar with Ohio State, they have a U style stadium, which is really unheard of when you think about high school football and or soccer arenas. So definitely a lot going on in that community. And one of the big things is many of our communities have a point of sale requirement, and that is where the city inspector comes out and they cite violations on the home. And in some of these communities, they will require that you put money up in escrow. Well, Euclid, beginning July 15th, they will still have that point of sale, but they will stop the requirement of having to put money in escrow. That having to place money in escrow hinders a lot of buyers and potential real estate investors in the area because they don't have the money to place in escrow, purchase the property, and make the renovations on the property. You get the money back from escrow, but it hinders if you don't have a huge cash flow or a pot of money to be able to do so. So that should help a lot of you investors out, and definitely a great place to consider because the values are so affordable. So I hope that you guys found this information very useful. Just a couple of updates. 10:30 today. You want to join me right back here on the Brick House Realty page. I am talking about staging your home on a budget. I have a guest speaker. She's going to be joining us. She goes by the Naughty Martha over on Instagram. So she's going to give us some tips on what we can do to help get your home sold very quickly on a budget. So 10:30 this morning, you want to do that. And then again, Saturday, teaching you how to own real estate. That's Saturday morning. It's 30 minutes early in the morning, maybe while you're doing your cleaning. Join me. Just, put me on speaker so you can listen. If this is your first time joining me, please like or subscribe to my channel. I like to provide information just like this, provide you with lots of resources to you. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me, Todd, this morning. And everyone else that's watching me out there, have a wonderful day. Happy Monday. I know you're probably dragging because it's coming off of the 4th, but got to get back to it, guys. All right. Have a good day.